Your environment keeps shrinking you. You can't focus if your circle keeps pulling you into distractions. The people around you should sharpen your mind, not scatter it. They should challenge you to rise, not pressure you to settle. Every time you choose peace, you gain strength. Every time you distance yourself from someone who drains you, you gain clarity. Every time you protect your space, you grow more grounded. And that grounded state is where your best ideas are born. That's where your discipline comes from. That's where your emotional power lives. So stop letting everyone in. Start paying attention to how people treat your peace. If they don't respect it, they don't respect you. And if they don't respect you, they shouldn't be close. It's really that simple. The smaller your circle, the less noise you deal with. The fewer explanations you have to give, the fewer conflicts you have to manage, and the more energy you have for what truly matters. Your goals, your values, your purpose, your health, your growth. You'll be misunderstood. That's part of it. You'll be called names. That happens. But what you won't be is drained. What you won't be is confused. What you won't be is surrounded by people who don't belong. Keep your circle small. Let your peace grow. That's how you build a strong, focused, and fulfilling life, not by trying to please everyone. Not by keeping every connection alive, but by choosing the few who deserve to walk beside you while you build something real. Number 8, don't let lazy days turn into lazy weeks. One lazy day doesn't ruin your progress. One off day, one missed workout, one unproductive afternoon. It happens to everyone. What ruins your progress is when that one lazy day turns into 2, then 3, and before you know it, you've lost momentum, your routine is broken, and your goals are on hold. That's not because you're lazy. It's because you let one slip, turn into a pattern. That's how most people fall behind, not in a dramatic collapse, but in quiet, subtle choices that slowly lower their standards. It always starts small. You say, I'll get back to it tomorrow. Then tomorrow shows up and your motivation isn't back yet. You feel tired, so you delay again. You convince yourself that a few more hours of rest will help, but it doesn't. It just feeds the habit. Your body gets used to comfort, your mind gets used to delay. And each day you put off action, it gets harder to return to it. The energy you once had fades. The drive you once felt weakens. And soon you're looking back, trying to figure out how you lost control. The truth is, discipline doesn't break in a single moment. It fades when you stop checking yourself. When you stop asking hard questions. When you stop holding the line. You get too relaxed, too forgiving. And while grace is necessary, excuses are dangerous. There's a difference between rest and avoidance. There's a difference between recovery and giving up. You know the difference. You feel it. One gives you strength, the other takes it away. When you stop showing up for yourself, even for a day, you need to be honest about why. Were you overwhelmed, distracted, unclear, or were you just avoiding effort? That kind of honesty is hard, but it's what keeps you from falling into a cycle of laziness. Because once you label every lazy day as self-care, you start losing the meaning of real rest. Real rest feels refreshing. Laziness just leaves you more tired. You have to create a standard for your life that doesn't rely on mood. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never build anything lasting. You'll be controlled by energy swings. You'll depend on motivation. But motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. What matters is your system, your habits, your personal rules. Those are the things that save you when the motivation disappears. Lazy days will happen. That's not the issue. The issue is how quickly you correct yourself. Do you get up the next day and get back on track? Do you take responsibility, or do you hide behind excuses? That choice decides how far you go. That choice decides who you become. People who achieve real success are not perfect. They miss days. They fall off, but they don't stay down. They don't let it stretch into a week, a month, or a season. They feel the discomfort of falling behind, and they move. They act. They return. They don't wait for the perfect mood. They rebuild their rhythm, even when it's hard. You need to catch yourself early. That first day morning you sleep in without a reason. That time you avoid the task because it's uncomfortable. That's your warning sign. That's when you talk to yourself, not to beat yourself up, but to get real, to remind yourself that comfort is easy to reach for, but it's not where your power comes from. Because there's no interruption, no correction, no boundary, and you can't afford to let that happen if you want to build something strong. Your goals don't pause when you do. The world doesn't wait for you to feel ready again. Time keeps moving, and if you're not careful, you'll waste weeks that could have been used to get better. When you do something small to interrupt it, make your bed, go for a walk, open your journal, drink water, do one push-up, write one paragraph. The action doesn't need to be big, it just needs to exist. That small action tells your mind, we're not quitting, we're still in this. And once you start, even a little, the energy begins to shift. You gain traction, you regain focus, and you remind yourself that you're still in control. Laziness grows in silence, in avoidance, in hiding. It fades in movement, in honesty, in action. And you don't need to wait for a full reset. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need to interrupt the pattern. Take back the day before it takes you. You don't need to win the whole week. Just stop the slide today. It's easy to say, I'll get serious next month. But every time you say that, you're training yourself to delay your life. There's no perfect time. There's no right mood. There's just now. There's just the moment you decide that your standards matter more than your comfort. The moment you stop asking how you feel and start asking what needs to be done. Some people waste years, stuck in a cycle that started with one lazy day, one skipped task, one, I'll do it later. It became a habit. Then it became a personality. Then it became regret. Don't let that be you. Don't let a slow moment become a slow life. Don't let short-term comfort steal long-term strength. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to pause, but you are not meant to live in pause. You are not meant to settle in low energy. Your mind is sharper than that. Your potential is stronger than that. But you've got to stay honest with yourself. You've got to hold. The goal is not perfection. It's consistency. It's staying close to the path, even when you stumble. It's correcting quickly, not waiting weeks to feel ready. It's reminding yourself that your goals are still waiting, even on the days you feel off. So the next time you feel yourself slipping, don't panic. Don't overthink. Just act. Do something small, something real. Break the pattern before it becomes a problem. The moment you catch yourself and course correct, you take your power back. That's how you stay on track, not by never falling, but by never letting yourself stay down too long. You won't always be at your best, but you can always return to it faster than before. That's growth. That's discipline. That's how you stop lazy days from turning into lazy weeks, and how you keep building a life you're proud of. Number 9, respect your time like it actually matters to you. Most people say time is important, but their actions tell a different story. They waste it like it's unlimited. They give it away like it doesn't cost anything. They spend hours on things that don't matter, and leave the important work for later, as if later is guaranteed. But if you truly understood how short life is, you'd start treating your time like it actually matters. Not just in words, but in what you do every single day. Time is not just ticking on a clock. It's your life moving forward. Every hour you waste is an hour you'll never get back. You don't get refunds on time. You don't get to relive yesterday. You don't get to pause the clock when you feel lost. It keeps moving with or without your permission. And that means every choice you make either builds your life or steals it. Every conversation, every commitment, every distraction, you either grow from it or it pulls you off course. People don't lose years of their life all at once. They lose it a few minutes at a time, scrolling endlessly, getting trapped in conversations that lead nowhere, waiting for motivation to arrive instead of acting with intention. It feels small in the moment, but added up over time, it's the difference between a life that moves forward and one that stays stuck. If you respected your time, you'd stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. You'd stop responding to every message the second it shows up. You'd stop filling your day with things just to stay busy. You'd look at your schedule and ask, does this matter? Will this move me forward? Will this drain me or develop me? That kind of thinking changes everything. It cuts the noise. It helps you focus. It builds momentum. And momentum is how you create the life you want. Not someday, but right now. Give your time to something. You're giving your attention, your energy, your presence. That's not small. That's your life force. And if you're not people will take it. They'll invite you into distractions, ask for your help with problems they created, waste your afternoon with meaningless talk. Not because they're bad people, but because they're not responsible for your life. You are. It's your job to protect your schedule, to say no without guilt, to make time for the things that matter before your energy gets spent on things that don't. The difference between average and extraordinary isn't talent, it's time management. Successful people don't have more time, they just use it better. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't wait until they feel like it. They build structure. They live by priorities, not pressure. They understand that their future is built in how they spend their hours, not their dreams. Anyone can say they want a better life, but what are you doing between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m.? What are you doing in the quiet hours when no one's watching? That's where change begins. Respecting your time means you treat it like it's limited because it is. It means you plan your days, you guard your focus, you build routines that serve you, you track where your energy goes, you don't chase distractions, you don't overload your plate with tasks that don't align with your goals, you simplify, you commit to, you stop apologizing for prioritizing your future. Too many people treat their time like an afterthought. They react to life instead of designing it. They give their best hours to things that drain them and leave the leftovers for their dreams. And then they wonder why they're stuck. It's not a mystery, it's not fate, it's habit. And habits can be changed. You need to build your day around what matters most. Start with the hard things. Do the deep work when your mind is fresh. Cut the random scrolling. Schedule your time like it's sacred, because it is. Build quiet into your mornings. Review your progress at night. Don't just drift through your days, drive them. If you don't choose how to spend your time, someone else will, and they won't choose wisely. The world is full of distractions disguised as opportunities. It's full of people who will take your attention without giving anything back. If you don't draw the line, they'll keep crossing it. And the more your time gets eaten up by things that don't matter, the less life you have left for the things that do. You don't need more hours in the day. You need to stop wasting the ones you already have. You need to stop treating every request as urgent. You need to stop allowing interruptions to control your workflow. You need to stop talking about what you'll do one day and start acting like your time is valuable right now. Time doesn't care how motivated you are. It keeps moving whether you act or not. That's why discipline matters more than desire. That's why routines matter more than moods. That's why boundaries matter more than being liked. If you let other people schedule your life, they'll fill it with their problems, not your priorities. Every day you wake up, you're if you want, but that window doesn't stay open forever. One day you won't have the energy. One day you won't have the time. One day it'll be too late to start. You think you have more time than you do. You think tomorrow is a guarantee. But if you don't act today, what makes you think you'll act tomorrow? Start tracking how you spend your time. Not for guilt, but for awareness. Start choosing your hours like you choose your closest friends carefully. Build a life you don't need to escape from. Create days that you look forward to. Protect your calendar. Eliminate the noise. Stay present in what matters. Because one focused hour is worth more than 10 distracted ones. Time is the most expensive thing you own. You can't borrow more. You can't pause it. You can't earn it back. All you can do is use it. And the way you use it reveals what you truly value. You prove with your behavior. So the question is simple. Do you respect your time like it actually matters to you? Because if you don't, no one else will. If you don't take it seriously, people will keep stealing it. If you don't build your days with intention, your life will be filled with regret. Start today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Review your day. Cut what doesn't help you grow. Focus on what moves you forward. Give your time the same value you give to money, to health, to anything else that matters, because it does. The quality of your time determines the quality of your life, and nothing changes until you start treating it that way. Number 10. Choose your tasks based on energy, not pressure. One of the biggest mistakes people make every day is choosing what to do based on pressure instead of energy. They let urgency control their day instead of alignment. They wake up and immediately ask, what needs to be done right now, instead of asking, I have right now. And that one question asked the wrong way. Scattered focus and tasks that drain instead of build. You can't master your life if you're always reacting. You need to decide based on strength, not stress. Pressure creates panic. Energy creates progress. When you choose your tasks based on pressure, you force your way through work that doesn't match your state of mind. You do the heavy thinking when your brain is already tired. You tackle the most difficult conversations when you're emotionally off. You push into complex problems when you're physically drained. And it shows. Your work gets sloppy, your tone gets sharp, and your progress slows down. But when you match your energy to the right task, everything feels cleaner. You get more done with less resistance. You finish faster. You feel better while doing it. This doesn't mean you avoid hard things. It means you do them at the right time. You use your high energy moments for deep work, creative tasks, problem solving, planning. You save the low energy slots for repetitive work, simple decisions, or recovery. That's not laziness. That's strategy. Because success isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters when it matters most. Your energy is not constant. It goes up and down throughout the day. And if you ignore that rhythm, you'll always feel like you're fighting against yourself. You'll try to do your most important work during your lowest energy window. You'll answer calls when your mind is foggy. You'll write emails when your body is restless. You'll plan your future when your brain can barely stay awake. That's not productive. That's how you burn out. The smartest people I've met don't just work hard. They work in sync with their energy. They know their strong hours. They guard their peak time. They don't waste their clearest thinking on minor tasks. They don't try to multitask during high focus windows. They stay sharp by being intentional. And that level of awareness comes from paying attention, noticing what times of day you feel most alert, recognizing when you need a break before you lose quality, catching when your mental energy is slipping so you can shift into something that fits. There is a real difference between movement and progress. Pressure makes you move, but energy makes you effective. Pressure says, hurry up. Energy says, here's the right time. If you spend your day responding to pressure, you'll always be behind. You'll always be reacting to noise, deadlines, people pulling at your attention. You'll get to the end of the day feeling exhausted, but not fulfilled. You were busy, but not focused. Choosing based on energy is not an excuse to avoid responsibility. It's a commitment to doing your best work at your best time. And that means saying no to things that don't fit your current state. It means moving tasks around when your focus shifts. It means building a schedule that supports your mental flow, not one that buries it under pressure. This mindset requires discipline, because pressure is loud, pressure is urgent, it screams for your attention. But energy is quiet. It requires you to pause, to reflect, to plan. And if you're not intentional, pressure will win every time. That's why most people stay stuck. Not because they're lazy, but because they're overwhelmed. They let pressure decide everything: when to work, what to do, how long to do it. They ignore how they feel until they crash. Then they blame themselves for losing motivation, when really they lost connection to their own energy. You don't need to grind yourself into the ground to prove you're productive. You need to protect your strongest hours. You need to organize your life around how you actually function, not how other people say you should. Stop copying productivity systems that don't match your mind. Stop filling your calendar with tasks just to feel busy. Start building around your energy. That's how you gain consistency. That's how you keep showing up without falling apart. You know when you're at your best. You've felt it. The hours when ideas come faster, when conversations flow better, when decisions feel easier, those hours are gold. And if you keep trading them for distractions, shallow work, or unnecessary meetings, you're giving away the best part of your day to things that don't matter. And what's left for your goals? The leftovers. That's not how you build excellence. Choose your tasks with intention. When you feel strong, do the heavy lifting, mentally and physically. When you feel scattered, take a walk, shift to something lighter, recharge. Don't force your way through something that needs clarity if your mind is already foggy. Don't try to be creative when you've got nothing in the tank. Save that for when your energy returns. And it will, if you stop draining it with tasks that don't match your rhythm. The more you live this way, the more self-aware you become. You start predicting your energy. You build a pattern that works with you, not against you. You stop crashing in the middle of the day because you planned around your own flow. And your productivity becomes sustainable, not a sprint followed by a breakdown, but a rhythm you can live with for years. You don't need a packed schedule. You need a smart one. You need a calendar that reflects your priorities and respects your energy. You need to stop measuring success by how much you did and start measuring it by how well you used your best hours. Did you move your real goals forward? Did you protect your creative windows? Did you rest when it was time to rest? This is how you build power, not by pushing blindly, but by learning to manage your own resources. Energy is your most valuable resource. Not time, not money, energy. Because without energy, your time is wasted. Without energy, your money means nothing. And if you don't respect it, you'll always feel behind, no matter how hard you work. So stop chasing pressure. Start noticing your energy. Plan your days based on what you can give, not what others expect. And watch how much more you accomplish when you align with your natural strength. That's not lazy, that's intelligent, that's sustainable, and that's how you build a life that works. Not just once, not just for a season, but for the long run. Choose based on energy. Live with intention. Build with clarity. That's how real progress is made. Mastering your energy is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, when it matters. If you want better focus, stronger habits, and real progress, protect your energy like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Say no to what drains you. Build routines that give you strength. Take your power back by choosing how you show up each day. This isn't theory, it's real life. If your energy is strong, your results will follow. So start today. Be honest with yourself. Stay disciplined. And remember, when you master your energy, you master your life. That's the difference maker. That's the real edge. Your energy is more important than your time. You can get your time back tomorrow, but if you waste your energy today, you can't think, you can't focus, and you can't perform. Most people don't even realize it, but they're tired before the day begins. They say they want to be successful, but they don't protect the one thing that fuels everything: energy. You can have great goals, but if your energy is low, nothing moves. You feel stuck, frustrated, and behind. If you're always tired, it's not your work, it's how you're using your energy. You say yes too often. You talk too much about the wrong things. You stay around the wrong people. Then you wonder why you can't stay focused. In this video, I'm going to show you how to master your energy step by step. Once you do that, everything gets better: your mind, your focus, your results. Stay with me. This is how real change begins. Number 1, stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. That might be the most freeing decision you ever make in your life. Because when you try to prove yourself to people who have already made up their mind about you, you're wasting two things you can't get back: your energy and your time. Foundation of everything meaningful you'll ever build. If someone is not willing to understand you, no amount of words will change their view. They're not listening to grow, they're listening to argue. They're not asking questions to know more. They're waiting for their turn to talk. And if you keep explaining yourself to that kind of person, all you're doing is draining yourself dry. You lose your focus, you lose your calm, you lose your clarity. You need to understand something that took me years to learn. Your energy is limited. If you give it to the wrong situations and the wrong people, you will not have enough left for the right ones. You could have a great plan, a strong work ethic, and the right vision, but if your energy is scattered, it won't matter. You'll be tired before the real work even starts. Every time you explain yourself to someone who's not really hearing you, you give away a little part of your drive. You give away your confidence. You start to question your own judgment. That's not growth. That's destruction. And it's slow. You don't see it at first, but you feel it. You feel it in how tired you get around certain people. You feel it in how your mood drops after a 5-minute conversation. You feel it when you start avoiding your own goals because you're too caught up defending them. So stop defending what you believe. Just live it. Stop proving your value. Just deliver it. Stop justifying your decisions. Just stand behind them. The people who really matter won't need explanations. They'll see the work. They'll respect the discipline. They'll notice the effort. The ones who demand constant explanations are the ones who are secretly hoping you doubt yourself. And when you stop explaining yourself, they lose their grip on your life. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace. If someone doesn't respect your time, stop giving them your presence. If they mock your vision, stop giving them your voice. If they twist your words, stop giving them your truth. Your job isn't to win everyone over. Your job is to stay true to what you know is right for you. Because when you spend your energy explaining, defending, and correcting, you're not moving forward. You're standing still. Worse, you're sinking. Now, I understand why people explain themselves. I really do. You want to be understood. You want to be seen. You want to be accepted. That's human. But you have to realize not everyone is meant to understand you. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not everyone should have the power to pull your attention. And the sooner you realize that, the stronger you get. You stop chasing opinions. You stop needing validation. You stop waiting for someone to say you're right. And you start saying it to yourself. Self-respect means you know when to walk away. It means you know the difference between explaining to clarify and explaining to please. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll know which one you've been doing. Sometimes the reason we feel stuck isn't because we lack motivation. It's because we're too busy talking to people who don't even value what we're building. Imagine how much clearer your mind would be if you stopped replaying conversations that didn't matter. Imagine how much more peace you'd have if you didn't carry the weight of other people's confusion about your life. You don't need to make sense to everyone. You don't need everyone to agree. What you need is to stay focused on your mission. What you need is to keep your energy clean. If someone misunderstands you on purpose, let them. If someone mislabels your silence, let them. If someone doubts your path, let them. You don't owe them an explanation. You owe yourself results. You want to master your energy? Start there. Stop explaining yourself. Save that strength for something better. Speak where your words can grow. Invest your time in people who are building, not criticizing. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be cold. Just be unavailable to nonsense. Be unavailable to small talk that leads nowhere. Be unavailable to arguments that go in circles. Be unavailable to the need to be understood by people who refuse to understand. Here's the truth. You can't move forward and keep looking back. You can't grow if you're still stuck explaining your roots. You can't win if you're drained before the game even starts. Your future requires more energy than your past ever deserved. So protect that energy. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. Every successful person you know has learned this lesson. They don't waste their mornings fighting to be heard. They don't chase opinions. They don't over-explain their moves. They let their results speak. And that's what you have to do. Let your growth be the response. Let your discipline, let your peace be the final word. Some people won't understand your silence. That's okay. Some people won't get why you stopped talking. That's okay too. You're not angry. You're just focused. You're not distant. You're just protecting what matters. And when you do that, when you finally stop explaining yourself, you'll feel something powerful. Freedom. Freedom from approval. Freedom from noise. Freedom from trying to fix what was never your job to fix. And that's when your energy starts to rise. That's when you get your clarity back. That's when your mind starts working again. You start showing up with purpose. You start finishing what you start. You stop hesitating. You stop second guessing. You move, you act, you grow. So I'll tell you one more time, not to convince you, but to remind you of what you already know. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. They're not your problem. Your energy is. And when you take care of that, everything else begins to change. Number 2, take breaks before your mind starts breaking down. Most people push themselves too far and then wonder why they can't think straight. They wait until their body crashes, their mind shuts down, and their motivation disappears. But energy doesn't vanish all at once. It fades slowly. It's not a dramatic collapse. It's small moments of neglect. And one of the biggest mistakes you can make is refusing to pause when your mind is asking for rest. You don't need to wait for burnout to know you're going too far. The signs show up early. You feel irritated for no reason. You find it harder to focus. Simple decisions start feeling like pressure. Your patience runs thin. You become numb to what used to excite you. That's not laziness, that's mental fatigue. And if you don't take it seriously, you'll end up stuck in cycles that keep repeating because your mind doesn't have space to create something better. Rest is not a luxury. It's part of the process. And if you ignore that, you'll pay for it with confusion, mistakes, and a lack of progress. The goal isn't to work nonstop. The goal is to stay clear, consistent, and sharp. And you can't do that if you're tired all the time. You can't master your energy if you don't know when to pause. Taking a break doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you care enough about your goals to protect the mind that's going to reach them. If your mind shuts down, your ambition can't carry the load. You can't build anything strong from a weak mental state. And to exhausted, pretending they're fine, performing routines with no soul in it. That's not strength. That's damage hiding under discipline. It's easy to fall into the trap of doing more. Pushing yourself feels productive. But if you're not thinking clearly, what exactly are you producing? More mistakes? More confusion? More rework? That's not forward motion. That's mental spinning. Taking breaks is not about being lazy. It's about being wise enough to know when your best thinking has left the room. You don't need a week off to reset. Sometimes you just need 10 minutes with no noise. Sometimes you need to walk away from the screen and breathe. Sometimes you need to get outside, look up at the sky, and let your thoughts slow down. Because when your mind slows down, your rises, and clarity is what helps you make strong decisions. You don't need to be on all the time. That mindset will break you. You're not a machine. Even machines have cooling systems. Even the best cars need to be turned off. But somehow we expect our minds to keep running no matter how cluttered, how overwhelmed, or how disconnected we feel. That's not discipline, that's neglect. What you need is rhythm. Push hard, then rest. Go deep, then recover. Think big, then recharge. That's how it's not about being intense all the time. It's about knowing when to back off so you can come back stronger. If you treat rest as weakness, you'll burn out trying to prove your worth. But if you treat sharp while others